The next medal recipient to be featured in my roundup of the Victoria Cross winners in collaboration with the VMGCRA is Harold Sandford Mugford, who was awarded his medal for his actions on the 11th of April 1917. Born at 149 Keaton's Road, Bermondsey, in 1894, Harold was a clerk in his civilian life, but in 1912 he enlisted into the Essex Yeomanry Regiment, part of the Territorial Army. At the outbreak of war in 1914, he was shipped overseas in November of that year, and he saw his first action at Ypres in 1915, where Mugford, along with his regiment, took part in the Battle of Friesenberg Ridge on the 8th of May 1915. By the time he was 22 years old, Harold had been promoted to a Lance Corporal in the 8th Cavalry Squadron Machine Gun Corps, of which he had transferred into in March 1916.
The 8th Squadron of the Machine Gun Corps Cavalry was attached to the 8th Cavalry Brigade in the 3rd Cavalry Division. They had been formed on the 29th of February 1916 from within the brigade, and this would have amalgamated the machine gun sections of the Royal Horse Guards, the 10th Hussars and the 1st Essex Yeomanry. Each section would provide 2 troops to make the machine gun squadron a total of 6 troops of 2 guns each. In October 1916, the Royal Horse Guards section was exchanged with the 1st Leicestershire Yeomanry section from 7th Machine Gun Squadron. The squadron took part in a number of engagements, including the First Battle of the Scarpe and the attack at Monchy-le-Preux, both in April 1917, during which Harold Mugford was awarded his Victoria Cross. The squadron left 3rd Cavalry Division when 8th Brigade left in March 1918.
Mugford and his comrades were to be involved in the Second Battle of Arras in 1917, which was a British effort to dislodge the German forces in the area and make a significant breakthrough on the Western Front. The operation that took place between the 9th of April and the 16th of May 1917 saw a total of 25 Victoria Crosses awarded for acts of bravery in face of the enemy. The 8th Cavalry Squadron War Diary details their movements on the morning of the 11th of April 1917. 8 a.m. Following an infantry attack earlier in the morning, 10th Royal Hussars with sections 3, 1 and the Essex Yeomanry with sections 5 and 6 moved on Monchy-le-Preux. They dismounted for action in the village and occupied a defensive line on north and east side of village, facing Pelvez and Bois de Start. After setting up these positions, the men defending them were put under heavy artillery bombardment as the Germans looked to retake the village. Number 3 section lost their ammunition supplies due to shelling, and Number 2 section had 1 gun put out of action. The gunners of the MGC were instrumental in the defence of the town. Mugford's actions that day were recollected in his London Gazette citation from the 26th of November 1917. Under intense shell and machine gun fire, Lance Corporal Mugford succeeded in getting his machine gun into a forward and very exposed position. From this point, he was able to deal most effectively with the enemy, who were massing for a counter-attack. His Number 2 was killed almost immediately, and at the same moment he himself was severely wounded. He was then ordered to a new position and told to go to a dressing station as soon as the position was occupied. He refused to go to the dressing station, but continued on duty with his gun, inflicting severe loss on the enemy. Soon after, he was again wounded, a shell breaking both of his legs. He still remained with his gun, begging his comrades to leave him and take cover. Shortly afterwards, this non-commissioned officer was removed to the dressing station, where he was again wounded in the arm. The valour and initiative displayed by Lance Corporal Mugford was instrumental in breaking up the impending counterattack of the enemy. Expected to die from his wounds, Harold defied all the odds of surviving his ordeal, but having both of his legs amputated. He was eventually invalided home, where he spent a couple of months recuperating at the Ampthill Road VAD Hospital in Bedford, where he learnt of his award. When interviewed for the Bedfordshire Times, he said, "I am the lucky one out of many. I am sure that others deserve just as much recognition, especially my Number 2, Corporal Jones, who was killed. It came early in the morning. It was quite the most glorious sensation I've ever had, going over the top on a GG. We had an objective given us 2 miles away. We had to get there somehow, and hold the place until the infantry could get up. They were shelling us like hell when I copped it." Harold was presented his Victoria Cross by King George V at Buckingham Palace on the 3rd of July 1918. Then, in August of the same year, he was presented a cheque for £300 by the Mayor of Eastham, which had been raised in his honour of his bravery at the front. Mugford was involved in various charitable fundraising efforts during his later life, and during the Second World War he aided the Chelmsford Flight of Fighters Fund. In 2017, a plaque commemorating his VC was erected close to the Bermondsey War Memorial. Many of these men did not consider themselves heroes, but these stories give us an insight into the actions that more soldiers would have experienced, possibly carrying out similar but without the subsequent recognition. These videos form a part of a year of events to remember the Corps and its disbandment in 1922. And be sure to join us on the 16th of July at the National Army Museum in London to learn more. For more on the Machine Gun Corps and the Vickers gun, make sure to follow the Vickers MG Collection and Research Association on social media and stay tuned for more. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And stay tuned for more military history.